Diolch Llywydd, dwi'n diolchgar am y cyfle I gael cloi y ddadl yma. Dwi'n diolchgar i'r rheini sydd wedi cyfrannu at y ddadl sy'n gyfle arall I ni wneud datganiad di-amwys ynglyn â'r angen I fyny cyd-syniad pobl Cymru i'r cam nesaf o ran yn perthynas ni efo'r Undeb Ewropeaidd. Dwi'n parchu y bleidlais ddigwyddodd yn mis Mehefin 2016 a'r canlyniad, sef bod y boblogaeth yn rhanedig. Ond yn ffafrio o chydig yr egwyddor cyffredinol y fynwyd iddyn nhw basio barn arno fo ar y pryd hwnnw yn y cyd-destun ar y pryd. Be dwi ddim yn fodlon I dderbyn yng ngwyneb 3 blynedd o ddryswch a mynd i'n unlle, 3 blynedd o anghenion Cymru'n cael ei anwybyddu gan y sefydliad yn Westminster a Whitehall, 3 blynedd o sylweddoliad bod llawer o sail yr hyn gyflwynwyd I bobl adeg y referendwm yn gamarweiniol ar y gorau, ydy bod y bleidlais honno ym Mehefin 2016 yn setlo yn glir be oedd ewyllus y bobl. Sut alla fo setlo yn glir? Achos doedd na ddim cynllun ar y bwrdd hyd yn oed. Dim ond rwan allwn ni hyd yn oed meddwl am setlo y mater, a referendwm gair ola ydy'r ffordd I wneud hynny. Much of that debate in 2016 focused on the bonanza on its way to the NHS, an NHS that ironically would most likely face being sold off if we do leave the European Union, as it turns out. But when it wasn't focusing on that, it was lauded as being a way to take back control. There can, I would argue, be no better way of taking back control than by ensuring that all the way through this debate on our EU membership, it is the electorate that decides the outcome. And that, of course.
The referendum was also, to a large extent, about immigration. And that question has driven the rise of the far right, which I'm sure you share my concerns about, not just here, but also in Europe and throughout the world. And do you further share my concern that it is those of us who are raising concerns and worries about the rise of the far right, who are subject to fake news and get harder and more vicious attacks than the far right themselves?
I'm pleased that you made that information. I think all of us should be very concerned about the evidence, and there's plenty of it, that the Brexit debate is one of two things, either driving the growth of the far right or is a symptom of it. And I've certainly seen some of the abuse that the member for Rhondda has taken, and it's disgraceful. And I condemn it, and it would be good to hearing others condemn that abuse rather than condemning Leanne Woods. It is the electorate, I believe, that should decide the outcome. And as I've mentioned a number of times here, that electorate now includes the hundreds of thousands of young people who've turned 18 since the referendum, including one daughter of mine, as it happens. They didn't have a voice then, and they should now. It's their future more than anybody who's at stake. And let the people decide. The electorate, not Downing Street stitch-ups, not a Conservative leadership candidate, not Johnson, Rees-Mogg, Farage, but the people. How could it possibly undermine democracy, as some suggest, to want to be as democratic as we can be, to be as current, to be as up-to-date as we can in measuring public opinion? If people had been offered a clear vision of what the alternative to EU membership was, what Brexit actually meant before the referendum, we wouldn't be in this situation now. He had mentioned the work that had been done in preparing the ground for the referendum on Scottish independence. But that preparation wasn't done before this referendum. UK government has to take responsibility for rushing through that party political referendum, which is what it was, and we are all on both sides of the debate reaping what was sown then. We can, on both sides of the debate, see that rushing to trigger Article 50 with no route map was a mistake, and I'm proud that my party colleagues at Westminster voted not to. We weren't ready. We can all, on both sides of the debate, agree that the UK establishment has been deeply, deeply tarnished through its mishandling of this whole affair. So today, I am confident that we will vote to declare this Assembly's unequivocal support for a confirmatory referendum on whatever terms proposed by any Prime Minister that the UK leaves the EU would remain on the ballot paper. Plaid Cymru's assessment is clear. Member elected for UKIP in the southeast of Wales says Plaid Cymru has changed its mind somehow on Brexit, and referenced the fact that we co-authored the Securing Wales's Future white paper. We have always been and remained committed to the view that we are best served by staying in the European Union. What the work on that white paper and our voting on indicative votes in Westminster, for example, has shown is that we have been responsible since the referendum, and that we've taken the position that if we have to leave, we don't want to, if we have to leave, let's at least try to mitigate, let's at least try to think what's in Wales's interest and put the case for what's best for Wales. We were ignored. And after the shambolic events of the last 3 years, yes, our assessment remains clear. Leaving the European Union, our assessment would be detrimental to Wales. Bad for farming, as Llyr discussed. Bad for young people, as we heard from Helen. For the NHS, for the economy. I'm proud to stand alongside others from across political parties here in the National Assembly who share that assessment. Not everyone will agree with that assessment, but the beauty of what we're calling for today is that it's not Plaid Cymru's will that we wish to be followed, but the will of the people today. Let's give the people, not us, the final say, and let the people give their assessment of what has unfolded since June 2016. Our future and the future of our children is at stake.